as a convener of this national level webinar being conducted by Department of Commerce and Management of Pattamala Algison College of Arts and Science, Attur. I extend a warm welcome to everyone. Essential startups for commerce students, commerce graduates is the topic, maybe more apt and useful to the current student community as well as to the present scenario. While job uncertainty is increasing every day, there has been a flurry of startups taking birth in the country. While there is no 100% guarantee that all the startups will succeed, innovative will succeed. Innovative startup ideas are taking birth every day to solve problems existing in the country from time immemorial. It is often said that none of the startup ideas are unique. There are a number of business areas of today's startup era, which you may start and make them unique in your own way. Very aptly, uniqueness depends on execution. So, have a startup spirit after completion of your degree and flourish in your future. In this juncture, I take this opportunity to welcome our resource person, Mr. V. Narayanan, Chartered Accountant, JCS, Bangalore. He is a man of versatile personality, having more knowledge in business and accounts in his experience. On behalf of our chairman, Sri OVA Vamanan, Secretary Srimati Shashikala Vamanan, our principal Dr. R. Rajkumar and Seth Raman, and staff and students of Pattamala College, I once again welcome to this webinar. Hope this webinar would become more beneficial not only to the students but also who are having a spirit to start business in the competitive world. Thank you. Hope this will be beneficial to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now
Thank you,
we
sir.
hand over now we hand over the session to Mr. Narayanan, sir. He is from Bangalore. He is ready to deliver his webinar session. Thank you, sir. Welcome you, sir. You start.
Startup for commerce students. This is the title of today's session. I welcome you all to this session. Hope that you learn something by the end of it. I have made the session agenda as follows. I'm giving you the concept of skill and how important it is and how to develop your skills. Then I'm proceeding to the concept of business. What is a really business? That I'm going to break the myth and give you a fundamental reality of the business. Then thirdly, I'm going to deal with the fundamental business requirements, which it deals with how you should play the role when you are becoming an entrepreneur. And then I'm going to give you 5 questions to ponder over. And I'm also introducing you 5 business concepts which are easy for commerce students to come and become entrepreneurs in those zones. And finally, I'm also giving you some extended career guidance where you could go for a higher education, both from Indian courses as well as from abroad courses. Oh, I can go to the agenda. If I take to give you the reality of the skills, okay, you go to the job market, nobody is going to ask you what's your mark, did you score more, okay, what's your rank, nobody is going to ask. I'm bluntly telling you, people care what you can do for them at what cost. and they don't care what degree certificate you have, what rank you have obtained, what marks you have obtained. This is the real world. So I am bluntly putting it, people do not care what degree certificate you have. They just want to know what you can do for them at what cost. Therefore, skills are very critical. They do not come from just reading books and passing the exams, but practicing a craft. What I mean by practicing craft is you need to think, apply, learn from experience. You should feel the subject. You should connect the theory to the practice. Only when you could do this, you are supposed to be deemed to have some sort of skill sets. You would feel that when you read a book, the book will contain the chapter, the learning objective. The learning objective would have some verb will come and then it will proceed about a particular topic. Now that verb would be tested in your exams through certain questioning words. Okay, the question will ask you to do something. Okay, that really gives you a clue. What is the level of knowledge? This table which I am showing you is going to give you a brief about what is the knowledge requirement for each of the topic. The first level, I used to tell that it's a fact collection mode. Okay, it just tells you what you are expected to know. That is level 1 knowledge, very basic knowledge. It is needed only in the exams, and though it becomes the basement on which you have built your other knowledge levels, still it becomes irrelevant to the industry. So that means in industry, in the real world, nobody is going to ask what is Section 4 of Income Tax Act. Very few guys would go and pushing you like that. What is Section 4 is a level 1. You are expected to know that it is the charging section of the Income Tax Act. So number 2 is comprehension, which is an expectation to understand the level of knowledge. It's basically, okay, do my income is taxable? Okay, it requires an understanding what is income, whether it is taxable or not. Okay. So that's comprehension. In the given scenario, what happens, what could I do, what I can expected to perform, all those things are coming from the comprehension mode. It is a starting point at the industry. Okay, the fact plus understanding equal to comprehension. The third level is application. How you could relate the content and context of the situation. That becomes application. Okay. Then comes analysis. Okay, you are now creating a cause-effect relationship or expected consequences from today's action. So you are linking between a stimulus and response and a reaction from the response. So when you are able to connect these dots, you are said to be an analytical person. And finally, you are going to take action. You are going to take a decision. You are going to form an opinion. You are going to create an experience. That's called evaluation. So these are the 5 levels of knowledge which one is expected to possess. And the industry focuses on the last 2 or 3 levels of knowledge. That is level 3, level 4, level 5 are more industry relevant than level 1 and 2. Whereas in your exams, level 1 and 2 are being stressed more. Okay, I have given you what is the verbs used in the exam questions. Say, for example, if I say list, state, define, what, then it becomes knowledge level. That is, you are just getting the facts. If the question contains describe, distinguish, explain, identify, illustrate, give an example, it shows that it is testing your understanding or comprehension skill. If the question says apply, calculate, compute, tabulate, reconcile, solve, demonstrate, then it is testing your application. If the question contains analyze this, you categorize this, you classify this, you compare and contrast, you discuss about this topic, you interpret the provision of law, you prioritize or produce certain information or understanding, then it deals with the analytical dimension of knowledge. And if advise, evaluate, recommend are being used in the question, it tests your evaluation. Now, coming to our income tax example, I gave for 2 areas. That is, what is Section 4? It becomes knowledge. Whether my income is taxable, it becomes a comprehension. Now, application. Okay, can I claim exemptions? That becomes application. Okay, I'm analyzing whether my income can be reduced, taxable income could be reduced. And when it comes to analysis, okay, how I can have the incidence of collection, receipt, and my residential status, how I can manage these three so as to minimize my tax liability. That becomes more analytical, because you know that income tax is taxed on the basis of two things. It's a relationship with India and your residential status in India. Okay. So as a result, by analyzing how you could make this relationship, you can manage a tax. And finally, if you are going to give a recommendation to your client stating that this income is taxed, that these are the schemes available for you to claim the exemptions, and this, if you conduct your business in this way, you could avoid setting tax incidences and manage the tax. And on the top of it, you should do, you are advised to have these sort of compliances issues or the documents and other things. It becomes a final level, the evaluation mode. So the same question could come in all the level. You need to understand how you can relate to this level of skill which is being expected out of you in the given question. And the same way, if you could relate it to the performance required at the industry, you are able to really appreciate what you have to do precisely. I would like to give you a kind of more focus on how you could convert your learning to performance. You have to focus on the learning objectives of your syllabus content. Particularly identify the work. Understand the level of knowledge. I just showed you the previous screen that there are 5 levels of knowledge. Then you start thinking about what are the performance objectives. Okay. That is, what kind of jobs you guys are expected to do. In CA or CWA, you will find some sort of questions which says you are the accounts manager, you are the audit manager, like that. Suppose that's a job role I expected to play immediately. So you could think you are an accountant, you are a kind of internal auditor. You put some roles. Okay. After putting the roles which you are expected to get, once you qualify your BCom or your BBA and enter the industry, what is a job role you are expected to take? And understand what are the levels of task the job description has, and how you could relate this skill and the salary component of the job, and identify what is the commercializing value of the skill. So now you got what is the value of your skill and how it is related to your examination or your curriculum. So by doing this exercise, you understand what is needed in industry and what industry can pay for you. More importantly is that unless you could convert your knowledge to money, it's no use in having the knowledge. So what's business? Many people think that it's the vehicle to earn money. It's where you build your brand, some will say. But I have found the business is not for earning money. It's not for building a brand image or some sort of empire, as people are talking. Actually, your business is nothing but a vehicle through which you make your life of your customers easy. To put it in very simple terms, every business in this world have been found to make its customers' life simple. And the question is, how do you seek to make it? So if you could get an idea, then you are in business. So you have to make others' life easy by your idea. Only then you are in business. And now, what are the requirements of establishing a business? Now you are a fresh guy who comes out with an idea. How this idea will become business? So now I am giving you the steps. So first you need to understand that the idea should be impersonal. That means it's never about you. It is about somebody else. Then you should understand you have to play 4 roles. The 4 roles is, number 1 is dreamer, in which this idea is taken as something sacrosanct. You start exploring, oh, how I would make idea, making the life of my customers easy, how I am changing that, how I am influencing this life. So this becomes a dream that you are able to change or revolutionize somebody's life. Then comes thinker. Hey, why should the guy come to me? How could I make this happen? What are the ground realities? What are the first steps? So like that, you should start thinking how you could implement that idea in real world. Then comes the story story. You are now convinced that this idea can create an impact and it's feasible. You have done the SFA analysis, suitability, feasibility, achievability. Now you call the people and say, come on, I tell you the story about this idea. It's wonderful. The market is good. Why can't you invest? Why can't you partner with me? So that becomes the job of storyteller. Finally, you have the people. Now you need to start the vehicle moving. You are now going to become the leader who pushes the business into the reality. Here, you start really doing the business. So before you become a business owner, you should carry out the three roles: the dreamer, thinker, and storyteller. Unless you do these four roles properly, you will not be able to succeed in business. To continue the requirement, I would go certain tidbits. Okay, this I have given to CPA from Ireland when we were discussing about the SME segment due to our continuing professional education. We shared something. The conclusion of that is what I am presenting here. Every business has to think big. So the dreamer should not dream small. You should dream big. So you should think big, but you should act small. Because unless you act small, you can't implement it. The acting small for the biggest dream, a big dream, is what is a fundamental business requirement. Your ability to act small at the same time putting the bigger picture will make you your finest businessman. Then you should understand that a business requires some planning and controlling activity. So you should have the fundamentals of business planning. So you should browse, you should go for Investopedia or some websites, understand what is a business plan. How do you identify and groom your revenue streams? So unless you get revenue, you can't do business. So to get the revenue, you should know that what is a business model, what is the value proposition, and how the revenue streams could be managed. So that requires a business plan. And you should know how to manage your cash. You can't shell out all the cash once it comes in. I know many business failed only because they don't know how to manage cash. Okay. So managing cash is a very critical, important business skill which one should possess. Very important. You need to know how to manage business relationship. People do business. See, it's not just with customer. You have the relationship with your vendors. You have the relationship with your shareholders. You have the relationship with your bankers, investors, lenders. You also have a relationship with the society and also with the government bodies. How do you manage all these relationships? So managing the relationships becomes the crux of business because people do business for people and not for paper. So no matter how great your idea is on the paper, you can't get the people to do the business with you. You have to build a trustable relationship which could be sustained. And this becomes a uniqueness of business because the relationship cannot be broken when it is built on trust and loyalty. Mutually, when it is reciprocated between the business, you can't go and break that customer and try to take him out for another product. That's why you find that Apple product users are still with Apple. The relationship which they get from Apple is so good. Even though you have a cheaper alternative like Samsung, Honor, or some other thing, they are not going. Even though they are paying a premium price, they are still continuing to buy Apple products. So that really signals that relationship is a key for our business. And stakeholder management is the another dimension of relationship management. Here, you are focusing mainly on the power players. Okay, what are the power they have and what is the interest they have on your business? When you map these people with the power and interest in your business and accordingly accommodate the play with them or the rule of game with them, you are able to do your business properly. And the stakeholder management is also there when you are in employment. Okay? You should know that who is your immediate boss, who is your administrative boss, who are the other departmental people who are above you, who are equal to you. How do you play with all of them? What kind of power play is on? How to have a polished way of putting our things across. So that becomes the stakeholder management. And this is my concept of 3 S's of business. If you want to have a sustained, scalable, successful business, okay, you need to possess 3 things right. Number 1, structure. Number 2, system. And third is strategy. The structure deals with how do you put your people in the organization. Okay, who is doing what? Who is reporting to whom? How do you relate to each of the people factor in the organization? So that's called structuring. Every relationship has a boundary. How do you structure the boundaries? That comes as structure. System deals with information management and control. So what do you have automated? What kind of information is flowing to you? How accurate, reliable it is? How timely it is coming? They become the system. We could both structure and system are needed to ensure performance. Okay, the performance strategy or the kind of KPI management, the critical success factor management, and the achievable key performing area management are all between these two. Okay, so these two have to be set absolutely right first time so that you can strategize continuously. Okay. Strategy deals with gaining a unique, competitive, sustainable advantage. So you should have a competitive advantage. It should be unique and it should be sustainable. When these three could be present, it's called strategy. Otherwise, it's not a strategy. Okay, so these three, yes, that is system, structure, and strategy, are absolute fundamental concepts of business. How are you setting these three yes in such a way that you could sustain, scale, and get successful business determines your business scale. So I told you that the second role from dreamer is the thinker. Now I'm going to give you 5 important questions which a thinker has to do. And only when these 5 questions have full clean answers, clarity should be there for this. If you have the clear cut answers, then only you will be able to launch your business. Okay. And you should have clarity, conviction, and commitment, 3 C's. So that can come only when you think about it. So these 3 C's are needed to have a successful business. That is clarity, conviction, and commitment. So the 5 questions are: number 1, what are you going to do? For whom are you going to do? That is the first fundamental question. So what and for whom? The second question is, why should they choose you? Okay, the customers are there, but why should they choose? Okay. What is the burning desire of your clients and why it is important? If you are going to serve them, if you are saying that they will choose you, then the third, what is exactly the burning desire? What is the exact problem of them which you are trying to resolve so that the life will become simple? Okay, the life becomes easier. What opportunity are you providing? Whether it's really the burning desire of them. That you have to. See, for example, you have wonderful Excel macros, but you are having 60-year-old in the market. You can't go to them and say, come on, you people, your life of computation is simple, just take this. They would love to have the desktop calculator on the desk and then type the numbers, do the arithmetic in the calculator, and feel that they have done valuation. Okay. Probably for them, if you have the apps which could read out the figures to them, and it also guides them that it has done in a very slow, methodical way, which the oldies can accept, then probably it's a good deal. It may satisfy the requirement. So you cannot bring a kind of a high flashy gadgets to a 8-year-old and say, come on, enjoy. But the same gadget may make a 20-year-old happy. So you need to understand whether it will make them happy and why should it make them happy. So that becomes the third critical question. What is the unique value additive skills you have and how you can commercialize on that? Suppose you have chosen the domain of your business. You have also chosen why should the customers choose you, and you have understood your customers and are now capable of getting to their desires. Now the third question is, what skills do you have to render all these things possible, and is it unique, and can you commercialize on this skills? Can you enter into a value proposition on the basis of the skills? Here only the real business comes in. The final one is related to sustain and scale up. How can you enter, sustain, and scale up the relationships needed to do all the above activities? So when you have become clear with these 5 questions, you are absolutely clear with your business plan, and you could really proceed to taking the business. Now, you are now a commerce student. What business you could do? There is no bar that you can't do a business. Other than medical practice and law practice, you have no bar. You can do any business. You can even set up an engineering design division also and hire some engineers to do the designs if it is needed. So nobody is going to care whether you have the degree certificate as long as it is not needed by a law. So there are several business opportunities based on the skill sets, but I have collected only 5 which generally are prevailing among the commerce graduates. Number 1 is accounts outsourcing. That means you are going to write accounts for other companies. You could do at any level, from SME outsourcing to a large scale outsourcing, creating a shared company services for a bigger entities like Hindustan Unilever or India Cements. You can create a corporate entity which says that I would serve all your group of companies accounts. You could do that. You could also start a small company and say that, come on guys, you come to me, I will write your accounts, I will ensure that your books are intact. I would support you to get it audited with your auditors and file on time with lesser hurdles. So that becomes a kind of living business. Second is payroll, which is being done predominantly by commerce graduates. The payroll means, okay, you are computing the salary to the people, the tax aspects of it, the social security aspects of it, and ensuring that you really cater to the individual needs of the employee who is going to receive the salary. You need a software, you have to have a time management system, you should get the inputs from the client and just process with this and create various registers pertaining to the salary. And this is also a kind of business which you could do from a small, medium-sized practice to a very large scale. See, Capgemini, which is a very big company, is having a payroll management as its one of its vertical. Accenture has payroll management as its one of its vertical. You could do at that level. Then you could also start a small company in which you handle the basis of human relations for various companies. Then the third domain which has come with these require, the last 3 require you to tie up with others. Okay. First 2 you could do on your own without even ties. You could do. But in India, predominantly SME segment require auditors approval, so you may have to be in touch with auditors, but you need not to do CA or you need not to work in your CA office. Okay. So you could assist in obtaining the loans for companies. Various banks are there. The similar work is about making the people to take various insurance policies. You could be a businessman by selling the insurance policies. You could also be a guy who can sell financial products. You can say, come on, invest in this particular mutual fund. This is the return. You could create some sort of metrics and say, please invest. So you could sell the financial products. You could sell the insurance. You could also sell loans on behalf of banks. And you need not be a bank employee. You can put an office in which you liaison with the banker on behalf of the people who need the loan. Okay, you need to know how to approach the bank. You have to study the schemes of various loans. So you could have seen that 20,000 crores is being now announced by MSME funding scheme. So you could read the scheme documents, understand which MSME can get the loan and which are the bankers who are supposed to give this loan, and try to coordinate with the people to ensure that it comes and you charge a percentage of loan as your fee. Then comes tax practice. I have 2 kinds of tax practice in India could be done by commerce students. One is income tax, another is GST. The 2 tax practices require you to write an examination which is hosted by the respective department. You will not do any attest function. That means you can't issue a certificate. You will not do audits under this law. What you are doing is you are compiling records and registers under this law, and you will file it, and you would also represent the company before the officers. You will simply go and talk to the officers and try to manage the complaints related issues by your dealing with the officers. And the last budding domain is financial and business analysis, in which you do a deeper analytical aspects. It's the offspring of accounts and payroll outsourcing. Here, what you do is you really do some sort of analytical aspects. You go to the stock market, analyze each performance of each of the shares, each of the securities, and understand the rating given by various agencies to this, and create the efficient market portfolios for various fund managers to use. You sell your analytics. You also do some sort of business analysis, which ensures that the people can put the correct value to the business. You also do the competitive profiling or product profiling. For example, Pulsar has appointed several commerce graduates to study whether this medicine is selling in this particular district or particular city or particular town. You just give me the product profile. If these are the chemical compositions available, what are the prices, what are the brands available. And it was a high paying job. Even 6,000 chartered accountants from Ernst and Young participated in this, along with the BCom and MCom graduates. They did a survey like this. So you could do market surveys, you could do product surveys, you could do profiling of companies and products. So they come as business analytical dimensions. So these are the 5 business domains which a commerce student have an edge over others. You have plenty of other opportunities also to pursue. You could be a personal wealth advisor, you could be a management consultant. There are several other opportunities. Okay, currently I have given you the 5 to start with.
Narayan sir.